After releasing my video entitled The Top 15 Reasons Why the PS4 Will Succeed, I thought it only prudent to do another video as a counter-argument of sorts, outlining the various reasons why the PS4 could fail. Now I want to make it very clear that I love Sony. In fact, of the 3 8th generation consoles soon to be released to market, I think it has the best chance of success. My point is, it's important to have balance in these discussions, because if all you have is hype, then it's really difficult to stay objective. That being said, here are the top 10 reasons why the PS4 could fail. Coming in number 10 is high bandwidth caps. Now this reason is through no fault of Sony, but it still needs to be addressed. With the increasing use of the internet in our daily lives, I get the impression that Sony, along with the other console manufacturers, assume that consumers have unlimited bandwidth to spare, when in fact bandwidth caps are worse than ever before, especially if you live in Canada. Not only that, but there are still huge chunks of the population, both in the US and in Canada, that rely strictly on dial-up or don't have internet at all. Thankfully, the PS4 can still be played offline, unlike the alleged rumors that the Microsoft One will require an always online internet connection, even to just play video games. Also, with the increasing number of services that require an online component to it, whether it be online gaming, cloud gaming services like the proposed GAIKAI, or direct streaming services like Netflix or Hulu, it's understandable why certain consumers are wary about purchasing this console upon release. Coming in at number 9 is underused peripherals. Now I actually think the PS Move is a worthwhile peripheral, and its purpose to serve as a motion controller for the PS3 was, and still is, a great effort. However, the motion control on the 6-axis controller and the PlayStation Eye were dangerously underutilized. Now it hasn't been confirmed whether or not the PlayStation Eye will be packaged along with the PS4, or whether or not it will be released as its own separate purchase. One thing is for certain, that as the PS4 evolves into a more social platform, things like video chat and Let's Plays cannot be ignored, and peripherals have to be taken seriously and not just marketed as a product add-on. Coming in at number 8 is new competition. Another potential distraction for consumers deciding whether or not to purchase a PlayStation 4 is the presence of new major players in the living room. Apple and Google have certainly been rumored to be inching their way into the video game market for a while, and Valve will soon be releasing its first hardware entry into the market, better known as the Steam Box, in the near future. But with the gaming industry increasingly shifting towards mobile, and new technology on the horizon like Apple TV, this simply cannot be ignored by major video game companies any longer. Coming in at number 7 is promises. It's easy to get swept up in all the hype and excitement of a new console, and as far as consumers go, that's what console manufacturers rely on, at least to a certain degree. But if history has taught us anything, it's that it's not uncommon for companies to promise one thing and deliver another. And it wasn't that long ago when we were watching Nintendo's Wii U unveiling, where they promised at last year's E3 that they will be offering extensive third-party support for their games. And recently, big prominent game developers like EA and Ubisoft have gone on record with saying that they will not be developing games for that system in the near future. What I'm saying is, it's important to keep in mind that the promises that Sony make are just that. They're promises. And there's really no idea of the PS4's capabilities once it's finally released to market. Coming in at number 6 is paid online subscriptions. Now, one of the reasons that consumers prefer the Sony model over the Microsoft model is the online play. A paid Xbox Live account is currently required for nearly every online interaction with an Xbox 360, from multiplayer gaming to Netflix streaming. Sony has always offered its PlayStation Network service for free, but offers a paid version called PlayStation Plus that adds features like cloud saving, automatic updating, and free and discounted games. But going forward, the $60 Microsoft makes from nearly every Xbox 360 gamer is just too much to leave on the table, and a revamped PlayStation Online service may mean more gamers will feel the need to pay up. Although we're not sure if it will require an online fee, or whether or not it will be something you could live without depending on your online interests. Coming in at number 5 is design. Now this reason really has more to do with the aesthetics of the PS4 rather than its overall hardware. The first model PS3 was a brick and heavy, an awkwardly shaped box that really hasn't aged all that well, and how the console looks is going to be important considering that the next model PS4 won't be backward compatible, requiring both consoles to stand in front of your TV side by side. But just as important will be how quiet the PS4 will perform when running games. And as I said in my last video, just try running games like Assassin's Creed 3 and Uncharted 3 on the old model PS3. I mean, the thing sounds like a hacksaw running through steel. Hopefully the new design will be sleeker, quieter, and take up less space than the previous one. Coming in at number 4 is the death of the used game market. Now, of all the rumors circulating about the PS4, one of the most persistent has been a new feature that takes a new game and locks it to a user's account such that it can't be played on another console. Now, if proven true, this would effectively destroy the used game market, the rental market, and just the overall enjoyment of swapping games with your friends. Sony has vehemently denied these allegations, with many top-level execs coming out to the media saying that this is just flat-out not true. President and CEO of Sony Entertainment of America, Jack Tretton, even went on record with saying that Sony is totally opposed to blocking used games. While it's likely the PS4 will be able to play used games, the fallout from these rumors was still a major bump in the road for Sony. Coming in at number 3 is non-transferable accounts. One of the things that's rubbing a lot of Sony owners the wrong way is the fact that their downloadable purchases from the PlayStation Network store will not be transferable to the PlayStation 4 even if they have to be re-downloaded to that console, leaving many consumers feeling gouged that they have to purchase games a second time in order to be played on the new console. What also wasn't mentioned was whether or not Sony would continue its PlayStation Plus program, which provides basic online gaming and functions for free while charging a premium for additional features. We'll surely be keeping our eyes and ears open on this one, but it seems at this point that Sony is really committed to going forward with this decision. Coming in at number 2 is streaming games. Now, Sony's acquisition of streaming game provider GAIKAI in 2012 set the stage for the new PlayStation's streaming game content. Now, a move to streaming games is a far-thinking idea, and one that would reduce the need for large amounts of local storage for fully downloaded games, as well as the need to storage, manufacture, and transport physical game discs. Although its implementation as described by Sony seems to be a hedged bet at best. New A-list titles like Killzone Shadowfall and Watch Dogs are still going to come out for retail on discs, at least for now. But what's uncertain is just how much game streaming will be a part of this new console. Will it be an optional component for players who want to play from a larger pool of games? Or will game discs be eventually phased out in lieu of game streaming technology and direct-to-download services? Honestly, at this point, it could go either way. Coming in at number 1 is backward compatibility, and this is the biggest reason why the PS4 could fail. As I explained in my last video, the first model PS3s to hit the market were backward compatible, able to play both PS2 and PS1 games. It was only until Sony introduced their slimmer, remodeled design that they took this feature away. The PlayStation 4's hardware will not include the ability to natively play past PlayStation online and retail games. Now, as stated before, to work around this, Sony is introducing their cloud-based streaming service known as GAIKAI. But would it have been so much to ask to include this feature anyway? Now, Sony claims in order to support backward compatibility, the PS4 would have to have the PS3's cell broadband engine inside of it, which is something that's doable, but not entirely practical. In a quote by Sony Senior Vice President Masayasu Ito, he said, "Realistically, to support backward compatibility with the PS3, the cell broadband engine would have needed to be part of the new console. We would also need to support the supporting hardware indefinitely. We can freely manufacture cell if the decision is made that it is needed. However, that's not the case with supporting hardware. There are parts which will become difficult to obtain since 7 years is already considered to be long in the IT industry." And with that, you have the top 10 reasons why the PS4 could fail. Now, I want to hear what you have to say. Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree with it? Is there a reason that the PS4 could fail that I may have forgotten to put on this list? Feel free to place a comment in the comment section below, and as always, feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel. That being said, I'm the Millennium Gamer, signing off.